Humanity is doomed, again! This time it's evil robot thingies from outer space stealing all of the natural resources and eating all the chocolate out of our Neapolitan ice cream. Now it's up to the humans to put on heavy steel armor so they can infiltrate the machine bases and set off more metal-on-metal action than a battle of the bands between the Scorpions and Iron Maiden. Does Legions of Steel rock like a hurricane, or should you run to the hills to avoid it? Rock on to find out. Legions of Steel starts with a rather long series of tutorial missions, and brother, are you going to need them. During the typical mission, you'll control a squad of 8 to 12 individual units, and you've got to tell each of them where to go, how fast to go, what direction to look in, what to shoot, how to shoot, what to shoot with, and in what order all that should be done, on every single turn. Each mission takes place within a machine base where everything is built on a perfect square grid, sort of like evil Legos. Mission objectives are the usual fare for this sort of game: escape, prevent your opponent from escaping, blow up something in particular, race your opponent to a particular location, stay alive, and or the ever-popular kill everything. Your squad of units is predetermined based on the mission, but it's usually a few generic troopers, 2 heavy weapon guys, 1 corporal, and 1 sergeant. The corporal and the sergeant both pack leadership points, which can be used to make other units shoot better, move faster, and or help with initiative. Initiative is determined via a d6 roll after every round. On your turn, you select each of your units one at a time and tell them to run, walk, or stand still. The computer highlights which squares your unit is able to reach with each option. Walking grants you 4 movement points, running grants you 8. Doing anything like taking a step, turning, or opening a door uses up those points at different rates depending on whether you're walking or running. Firing your awesome future weapons takes a bit more than just pulling a trigger. A fully loaded soldier has 10 options regarding what to fire: the gun, the grenade, or the force field grenade, and how to fire it, either basic firing, automatic firing, and then 5 types of covering fire. There is no in-game rules reference regarding what does what, so I hope you remembered the tutorials. Once again, the computer highlights all of your valid targets, and tapping on a target shows you your percentage chance of hitting it before you commit to pulling the trigger. An additional tap of the percentage window will show you all of the modifiers that were used to calculate your odds. The game board can be displayed in either the fancy artwork realistic view or a simplified blue lines on graph paper look. You can toggle between the 2 looks at any time, and both views are fully rotatable. While you can always see the layout of the entire map, some missions allow for the electronic warfare, which is a fog of war that only allows you to see opponents that at least one of your units has line of fire to. A handy undo button lets you give the Edge of Tomorrow treatment to each of your units back to the point where they last shot at something. The game auto-saves your progress at the end of each round of the game, and you can keep multiple saved missions and campaigns simultaneously. At the moment, the online multiplayer still isn't active, leaving you the options of playing solo against the computer, or as a pass-and-play where one of you gets to control the machine hordes against those pesky humans. While Legions of Steel may seem like a simple little game of moving around and shooting stuff, much like the subterranean layers the game takes place in, there is a lot buried beneath the surface. Having a unit perform the mere act of walking requires the same amount of button taps as dialing a local phone number. While that may not seem like much, remember that you spend each round of the game calling up to 12 of your friends without the help of an autodialer or a contact book, and they'll each need their own area code if you want them to shoot anything. Due to the tight quarters of machine bases you are invading, portions of the game can turn into exercises in traffic control, as your armor-laden commandos can't walk through each other, and failing to blow up or open one key door can wreck your whole turn. Perhaps the most infuriating aspect of the game is unit facing. Each unit's firing arc is strictly limited to 90 degrees directly in front of it, because apparently elite soldiers in the future aren't trained to turn their heads slightly. Compounding this problem is that your units spend a lot of time staring at adjacent walls because you forgot to save enough movement points for them to turn around. Again, these are highly trained troopers adept at following orders, not people you would want in your improv troupe. Even though there are a lot of buttons to be pushed each turn, the neat and efficient layout gives you easy access to everything at all times. The artwork and the lighting give the machine bases an aura of damp, rusty doom, much like several of my first apartments, and the background music is decidedly creepy and foreboding, also like several of my first apartments. I was sort of in a cure phase for a while. The sound effects are the lone presentation aspect I don't like, as the weapons fire all sounds like a kindergartner imitating a Star Wars blaster, and units die in complete silence without so much as a Wilhelm scream.
And now, Captain's judgment, ya scurvy dogs!
Legions of Steel is difficult to learn and full of little rules that are meant to be forgotten just long enough to come back and bite you in your metal-encased backside later. By playing it, you will waste useful chunks of your life screaming at little pixelated soldiers for being stupid enough to follow your orders precisely. You will strangle your iPad in impotent rage as you helplessly watch your units die 1,000 deaths and swear never to play this stupid game again. And that's what makes it so gosh darn fun. It's like being Hudson and Aliens, Patton, and Bill Murray and Groundhog Day all at the same time. Because of the very limited variety of assets available to you, your only hope is to figure out some strategy and to do it quick. Actually, you'd better start refiguring some strategy, as the whims of combat luck will ensure that your plans aren't going to last too long. So download the app, buckle yourself in, crank up the Megadeth, and avenge humanity! After carefully playing through the tutorials, that is.
You've just been keelhauled by another Captain Bob review. For more reviews of iOS board and card games, set sail for iPadboardgames.org.